Another agribusiness-friendly policy that I saw in much of southern Africa was the so-called Green Revolution for Africa, which Mark also mentioned. This is a well-funded attempt to increase farm production by pushing commercial seeds and synthetic fertilizers. Governments put scarce public funds, in some cases as much as 60% of their entire agricultural budgets, in subsidies so small farmers can purchase from the private sector seeds and fertilizers. I start the book, in fact, in Malawi with the so-called Malawi miracle. It's called the Malawi miracle because the government got fed up with being told they couldn't subsidize anything by the World Bank and the IMF, and they decided to do these subsidies. And they actually worked for a while. They saw increases in corn production that were quite significant for a few years. But it only worked for a short while. Synthetic fertilizers did nothing for the long-term fertility of the soil, which is planted year after year after year in corn, partly because that's what the government is subsidizing. They're giving you subsidies for seeds to grow corn. So you get monoculture corn drenched in fertilizer. Pouring fertilizer onto monocrop corn is like putting trout in a pond every spring. You can get some, you can pull some trout from that pond in the summer. And sure, farmers can pull some corn from their land. But the land is no more capable of sustaining life than it was before the season started. It actually grows more acidic, less capable of producing food. Yields plateau. It then takes farmers more and more fertilizer just to get the same level of production. And most farmers can't afford the fertilizer. Today, Malawi shows scarcely any evidence of a reduction in rural hunger. Meanwhile, though, and again, farmers show the way, enterprising farm groups there are showing, have improved a local variety of corn that they've been growing for years and years and years. Careful seed selection made it more productive. It's high in vitamin A, which is very much in demand and very much needed in the diets of people in the area. But they don't have to buy those seeds every year from Monsanto or another seed company, and they don't have to buy fertilizer to drench it each year to make it grow. They interplant a variety of crops mixed together. That improves soils. It diversifies their families' diets, right? Families aren't just pulling corn out of the ground every year and eating only corn. They're eating a variety of vegetables and other nutritious crops. And it also helps them withstand climate shocks, because if a drought kills their corn or a pest kills their corn, other crops are there to survive and feed the family. I heard farmer after farmer sing the praises of this agroecological farming that they're doing, and they're now beginning to sell that vitamin A-rich corn to neighboring farms and to aid agencies. But what does the government do? It drafts a seed policy that strengthens the rights of commercial plant breeders and threatens the rights of these same farmers to save, exchange, and sell their own seeds. Why? Because the policy says only certified seeds can be sold. They in fact say, and this shocked me, that these seeds, which farmers have been using for generations, can't even be called seeds. They can only be called grain, worthy of eating but not planting. How can such nutritious corn, which we have planted for generations, not be a seed? One farmer said to me. I was actually arguing with one of the defenders of the policy in Malawi, and exasperated, I said, the way this policy reads, it could have been written by Monsanto. And after a long pause, he looked at me and said very sheepishly, well, one former Monsanto official was a co-author of the policy. I was shocked. I wrote about it. My report of Monsanto's bald-faced conflict of interest in this issue prompted an outcry and some reforms to the seed policy, I'm glad to say. But the scary thing is that the companies and their philanthropic allies, like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, have their sights set on, quote unquote, opening Africa to the seed giants for commercial seeds, including GMOs. And that's been dubbed in places like Malawi, the new colonialism. it is very much a colonial undertaking. They have certainly succeeded in capturing most African governments with their funds, with their campaigns, and with their pressure. In the capital city of Lilongwe in Malawi, I saw farmer Evelyn Jolomole from this community that was growing the orange maize, displaying it and some of the products they make from it in an exhibition on adaptation to climate change. And the president of Malawi, actually, Peter Mutharika, actually came to her booth. She had this farmer from Lobi in central Malawi had the opportunity to speak with the president. And when she handed him a bag of this beautiful bright orange maize flour, he said to her, "Oh, is this from Monsanto?" I thought immediately of the monoculture of the mind that Vandana has written about so eloquently. It's such a narrowing of our thinking to the stifling of our imaginations. Evelyn was actually on TV that night explaining that no, to the president, that no, this was actually a freely available natural resource that could solve Malawi's food security problems.